Good morning. Your Excellency, Triple Graduate Firas Abyad, VPs, Deans, faculty, staff, AUB community, it's a pleasure to be here with the 7th convening of WiDS. This year's conference theme, Data Science and Crisis Management, is sadly particularly relevant to the people of Lebanon and the region, as we face unprecedented global and local challenges that call for cutting-edge and data-driven solutions. Many years ago, when I was being recognized in a previous life in the Arab American community in Georgia, I wanted to make my speech about women's empowerment, only to see that the other two awardees were women. So that made my speech go from 7 minutes to 40 seconds. It shows that the Arab world, both here and in the diaspora, is starting to understand that it's time to act on empowering women and on taking advantage of the intellectual firepower of half the population of the planet. And it's particularly timely because we face a plethora of ongoing global crises. I hate the phrase climate change. It was developed by Dick Cheney in his focus group. So it's really global warming, economic instability, social injustice, food insecurity, pandemic, and the growing gap in wealth disparity. These are some of the complex challenges that need to be addressed. And we have a generation where people talk about everything except the core issues. I'm proud to say that at AUB we've gotten used to speaking mostly about the core issues. And one of the reasons we've been able to do that is a very inclusive community. If you look around the room, half of our senior leadership, VPs, deans, provost, deputy provost, associate provost, senior directors are women. That was not because we implemented a affirmative action for women. That was simply because the cream rose to the top and the opportunities and the talent was recognized, because we need all the help we can get in facing these crises. And to face these crises, we need people who understand data, can analyze it, can use it, and in what some have called the post-truth era, we need to be able to analyze the data to glean the truth. That is really what we want an AUB education to be about. Not about indoctrinating people with our truth, but helping them to analyze what the truth really is from their perspective. The field of data science plays a critical role in this. It plays a role not just in crisis management, but as I mentioned in my graduation address almost 5 years ago, in helping people to understand what is real. By leveraging the power of data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, we can develop more effective strategies for crisis response, preparedness, and recovery. But those powers unchecked can create a new dimension of challenges that we don't yet have the facility to solve. That's why this conference is so critical in this rich week of AUB events. I feel that today's Women in Data Science is crucial to continuing to extend our understanding and our outreach in an area that we must adopt at a very high level in order to remain relevant to the world. While Lebanon faces some, I would say, defining crises on some level, certainly serious ones on another level, I'm convinced every day since we accepted this responsibility more than 9 years ago that we have the talent in this country to overcome it. Not just the problems of Lebanon, but Lebanon and the region. And it starts at this university. Last night at the Ideas meeting, which is the first one that, this is MSFEA's annual rich discussion of what's relevant, what's hot, what's not. I discussed with a former AUB graduate, one of the last graduates in pharmacy, his approach on the university, which he had not had because his son was one of the awardees, he had not had the opportunity to meet with the students. And he said something that was not surprising to me, but it may be surprising to some of you. He graduated in 1972, and he said, "I wished I attended AUB now." People's sense of confidence, the sense of unity, even amidst some serious disagreements and even divisions has not been seen for some time. Now, before we pat ourselves on the back, the problems in the 70s led to a civil war, but I'm convinced that the problems of this decade will lead to some important solutions, and largely because we have people capable of analyzing the truth and data and arriving at the truth and presenting solutions. This is the power of data science. Traditionally, women have been underrepresented in STEM fields. That is something I believe, where's Mariette? Yeah, I don't think we are underrepresented in the STEM fields, and not just with the phenomenal women you see in the first 4 rows or more, but I believe that this is a choice people are making, and they're now making it younger and younger and younger with less obstacles. Now, there remains a fundamental problem in this country, which is the public schooling system. Most people in the world go to public schools. And when the public schools are as disadvantaged, particularly in the STEM areas, as the private schools, this is, in my view, one of the most urgent problems that we need to solve. So it doesn't matter who's elected. Every day I hear different speculation about president, prime minister, governor of the central bank. We have to address the core issue of opportunity at the private and public schools, since the advantage of this country has always been its human capital. And the 21st century cannot afford to not prepare the human capital that we have, first of all, for the opportunity to excel in different fields, and second, for the opportunity to choose their own field so they may push forward solutions. This is a critical undertaking. And as I've seen WiDS growth, its ability to reach out to more women and girls everywhere, I think it's critical to make sure this material is online, is available, and is accessible even to people who are disadvantaged. Only that can help us reach an opportunity which we have missed for more than a century, which is to have a fully participatory society that starts to come up with its own solutions. This is why I think this is not just a celebration, but something of a quiet revolution, the Women in Data Science program. It is part of AUB's long-standing commitment to be at the forefront of data science, of progress, of intelligent systems, but also not just of computational engineering, but of opportunity. As we explore the controversial topics of artificial intelligence, data analytics, what's their impact going to be on the future, we can do so in an atmosphere here at AUB which allows free and fair debate. And for that, I think we owe a special thanks to Lema. I remember the first conference here 6 years ago. This is the 7th. And it was already packed. The collaboration initially was with Stanford and other universities. But she has persisted in featuring the best and the brightest we have and others have to offer. And I can remember 4 years ago, was it 4 years ago or 3 years ago, seeing, 4 years ago, Ghada Hashflayhan, Soha Kenj, and others on the stage discussing opportunities in their careers. Look, Lebanon cannot continue to waste the human capital that it has sadly expelled for more than a century. In a discussion my friend Ray Sawaya and I had more than a quarter century ago with a Saudi friend, we asked that friend whether Saudi Arabia gave away its oil. Of course not, he said. And I said, well, Lebanon doesn't export its most precious resource, human capital. It expels its resource, and that has to end. And it ends with empowerment through conferences like today, through making this available. I believe that before the next 5 to 10 years are done, every senior position at AUB will have been led by a woman. And that's critical, but what impresses me about the transition is it's not forced. The transition at AUB will be complete, but it's critical that that transition be more than a symbolic turning over of the baton as we're seeing in the Ivy Leagues, but it be at every level, at the grassroots, at the schools, at the universities, that all opportunities are open. And one day, hopefully, I'm confident the president of Lebanon, who's a woman, will do a heck of a lot better than what we've seen from the men. Thank you very much.